Well, hello. This is Pastor Ben here, and today I am joined by Dr. John Senkler. What's up, John? How you doing, man?
Hey, good. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. John is a friend of mine and attends Radiant Church and has for the last year. Is that right, John?
Yeah, Easter last year.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about how you and your family kind of found Radiant and how you guys got involved.
Yeah, let's see here. So moved here in 2018. Moved back, I should say, after I finished my medical residency, and then my wife's mother received a flyer on her door, and we were looking for a church at the time, and we said, "Hey, let's give this a try," and we did, and loved it, and been going ever since.
Yeah, you guys were like one of the very first people. I think almost every single service at our Ankeny campus, you guys were there from the beginning. And man, it's been awesome having you guys, and it's been really cool to watch. And so, yeah, so tell us a little bit, John. You're obviously a doctor. Tell us a little bit. What is your field? What's the name of it? And then how do you explain it to like people like me who don't really know much about that?
Sure. So I'm a board certified internal medicine physician and I practice hospital medicine. I'm called a hospitalist. So basically that means I just see all inpatients. So if you're admitted to the hospital for like a pneumonia or something like that, I'll probably be one of the me or one of my colleagues would be the doctor taking care of you.
Sure. Now, just because everyone's wondering, you've treated COVID patients, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. And so you guys, I know you guys are working like crazy right now and taking extra precautions, which is awesome. So that's great. Thanks for all you do. So as we're talking now, obviously we're talking about reopening as a church with extra precautions in place, and we're kind of thinking through all of that. And so as we've been kind of wondering and trying to figure out exactly what to do to, keep people as safe as possible. One of the things that was brought up was masks, and I noticed that every single time Susan and I have been going to the hospital for the last couple months for her chemo treatments and stuff, we noticed that it seems like every single staff, every doctor, every nurse for a while now all have had a mask on. And so tell us a little bit about why that is and what they're hoping to accomplish by that, I guess.
Sure. So the masks, there's different types of masks out there, and I could talk to you for about an hour on the different types of masks and when you simply want. That'll be for the next video. But yeah, so the reason why we're doing that is trying to prevent the spread, either obtaining it from a patient or passing it on if you're an asymptomatic carrier. And so in the hospital specifically, we have face shields on, face masks on. That's just to help prevent the spread of the virus.
Totally, that makes sense. And I know like their studies have been done, and it seems like a lot of the spread has actually come from people who are asymptomatic, right? People who aren't even showing signs yet. Is that correct?
Yep, it typically takes about 5 days on average. It's a wide ranging time, but 5 days before you start developing symptoms after you've been infected. So that's a long time.
Right. And so the masks are like, hey, you don't even know you're sick yet, but it's just one extra kind of tool in your belt in order to help prevent the spread of stuff like that. Now, are all masks created equal then, or give us a rundown real quick?
Yeah, so there's different tiers of masks. N95s, those are the ones that go around your face and form tight seals. Those are kind of like the Rolls Royce of face masks, if you will. Then it goes all the way down to surgical masks, down to cloth masks. And it's all about what you're doing as to what type of mask you need. So, the average person doesn't need an N95 mask because they're not doing certain procedures or dealing with certain types of infections where those are indicated. Uh, Same thing, with all the other different masks. So
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. I was given an opened N95 mask, just obviously with Susan, so I feel like I kind of have like the Cadillac of masks. You know what I mean? Like when I put that on, and whenever I have to go outside, I kind of like show it off. I feel like a gangster. No, but yeah, that's awesome. So, however, it is important. I think what I've read and my understanding is that once you have the mask on, say it's a disposable mask or whatever to prevent those droplets or whatever going out, it's important not to touch that or mess with it. Is that right?
yep, just generally speaking, touching your face is not encouraged, and the more you temper with the mask, the more it's likely going to be contaminated and make it, useless. So
Yeah, and that's one of the things like at Radiant, we're highly encouraging everyone to bring their mask and wear that, to protect other people and stuff like that. But yeah, it's important to know too, be sure to watch what you're doing with your hands while you're here and stuff like that. So the question is, if I'm wearing a mask, does that mean I can kind of ignore the other distancing rules, or what are some good practices if you have to be out and about that we can put in place?
yeah, I know that's a mask doesn't mean you're protected by any means. This coronavirus, can live on surfaces for hours. Different surfaces, they last different lengths of time. There's also transmission that can happen through the eyes. I mean, there's a lot of different ways other than just respiratory. So, best things that we can do are face masks when able, when you're in any sort of public situation, frequent hand washing, hand sanitizer, things like that. Don't touch your face. And then the social distancing, staying 6 feet apart, and just avoiding crowds in general are the biggest things.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's one of the things we're kind of thinking through is how do we keep people, distance. And so the worship center is going to be spread out. We're going to have sanitizer stations, that sort of thing. Everything we can do, for those who do decide to come. But one of the things we're also quick to say is not everyone should come, right? There's at-risk groups, for instance, who should maybe refrain during our phase 1 openings. Speak a little bit to who would be in that group, I guess.
Sure. So this is just kind of a generalized, broad statement, but anybody who has a weakened immune system are people who are going to be at higher risk to this. And what causes a weakened immune system? Well, a lot of things. Again, generally speaking, things like heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, lung disease, smoking, kidney disease, or obesity. Those are just kind of some big common things where if you get an infection, it's going to be a lot tougher for your body to fight it off than a healthy 18-year-old.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And so we would say, if you're in that age group or, you have those underlying health conditions, refrain from attending or refrain from going out in public as much as you can for the time being, right?
Sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, yeah, that's good. And so, we're trying to think through, and we've been working hard to put plans in place about how to keep people as reasonably safe as we can. But yeah, so what have you and your family, I guess, been doing during these days to remain connected socially, and how's that been important for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's super important because, all this isolation definitely takes a toll on people, especially, I don't even know how long we've been in this now, but it just, it eats away at us. Yeah, give or take. Um, So for us, like we've been doing small group, the Zoom sessions, things like that. You know, for better or worse, my wife and I, we both work in healthcare, so we've had to go in, which is nice to socialize with people, but not everybody's as fortunate as that. Um, so it's hard, but I definitely there is a advantage and a plus side to socialization, no matter what way you get it.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, I know for us too, it's been super hard just trying to hunker down and yet stay connected with people somehow, some way. Yeah, that makes sense. So final question. Thanks so much, obviously, for taking the time to do this and just kind of giving us some kind of a glimpse into why we're making some of these decisions and some of these precautionary measures once we do end up meeting. So as we close here, John, on a personal note, how can we be praying for you and your family? And then how can we be praying for, yeah, your colleagues and medical professionals?
Yeah, I think just praying that everybody, as these restrictions are getting loosened, continue to take this seriously. We're entering a whole new stage in this of now we're starting to kind of mingle again. And if we start getting lax with hand washing, face mask, isolation when we're able to, our cases are going to go back up. And it's hard for some people to see this because sure they might be healthy and they might not have any issues, but their loved one in their house might have some underlying condition. Where if I'm an asymptomatic carrier, I pass that on and that could cause a bunch of issues. So it's not, we need to not think about ourselves, but of our loved ones and all of our, people in our community.
Yeah, that sounds Christ-like to me. Yeah. Well, thanks so much, John, and I appreciate that. We'll absolutely be praying for you guys, and just thank you. From Radiant Church, from our family to those who are on the front lines of this thing, working hard, seriously, from the bottom of our hearts. Thanks so much, and we're praying for you. And keep fighting the good fight, man.
Thanks.
All right, God bless. We'll see you.
See ya. Bye.
All right, bye.